November 12th meeting of the Community Relations Committee is in order. We'll do the roll call. Jan is not here. Abby, here. Margaret's here. Mary Lou's here. Alyssa's here. I'm here. Emily not here. Rebecca is here. Patty's here. And Deb Luznia is not here. And she's the one I still have to get her email. Sergeant Schreibner was supposed to be here. He did say he was coming, but he's could be getting, who knows what's happening. And so next up is reading of the minutes of last meeting.
Do we go ahead and read them?
Yes.
Just fine?
Yeah.
So this are the minutes of the meeting of October 8th, 2019. Called to order at 6:18 p.m. The members present were President Jane Hamill, Vice President Mead, Abby Goldberg, Emily Britton, Alyssa O'Leary, and Deborah Lucia. Absent were Margaret Kirstein, Patty Doherty, Mary Lou Splain, Buddy LaPointe to the extent he's part of the committee, and Jan.
Thanks.
Oh, sorry.
So number 2 was that we approved the minutes on Alyssa's motion. Emily seconded. Unanimous approval. Public speak time at 6:20 at Mayor LaChapelle was reporting that the city now has a Facebook page. There was also a communication from the Jewish Community Relations Council of Greater Boston about Abraham initiatives. I put the rest of that under the continuing business. B, the superintendent of Easthampton Schools, Dr. Allison LeClaire, came and gave us a very nice update about the work being done in the school. So what I wrote here is she appeared and reported on the progress that has been made in the schools over these past 3 years, the journey they're on towards equity, diversity, and inclusion. Also new business item A. So number 4 was new business A. This item is regard to Mayor's invitation to Superintendent LeClaire that she speak with us. Dr. LeClaire reported on the progress and indeed the journey begun since the time of a memorandum of agreement entered into between Easthampton Schools and the Office of the Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Dr. LeClaire stated we've met the terms of the memorandum and gone deeper. Policies and discipline practices have been addressed and discipline data reviewed. 2 equity committees have been created, one focused on grades pre-K through 8 and the second on grades 9 through 12. Trainings with Elizabeth Pryor of Smith College have been undertaken. Easthampton Schools are working with the Massachusetts Department of Public Education on a pilot program that looks at current textbooks and other available books and study materials from the perspective of greater inclusion with values of kindness, supportiveness, and respect. A line item for diversity work has been included in the school budget this year. Trainings have taken place on implicit bias, unconscious bias, and the students have done work on this training, including a training in Canada. At least one of the equity committees meets every month and is open to anyone to observe or participate. The members of our Community Relations Committee could be invited to attend. And then number 5, continuing business. So D5 is from the public speak. This is about events, the Community Relations Committee hosting or fostering cultural events. Skipping down from 4A above, Mayor LaChapelle invited us to co-sponsor the visit from the Abraham Initiatives that's being scheduled for Friday, November 1st, 2019 at about 11 in the morning. She's inviting representatives from the Easthampton Fire and Police Departments, from the synagogue, and from the mosque in Springfield, although the people in Springfield may attend the presentation to be held there. On Abby's motion made for co-sponsorship, seconded, 5 voted in favor with 1 abstention. Next meeting, November 12th, 2019 at 6:15 p.m. and we adjourned at 7:04 with someone needing to leave, so we had a motion by Deborah Lusnia, seconded by Emily, to adjourn. It was unanimously voted.
Does anybody dispute that? All right, I motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. Okay, we have no public speaker, obviously. I'm going to recognize myself for 1 or 2 minutes, just to tell you about the Abraham Initiative event. We did sponsor it, so I feel everybody should know about it. I found it really interesting. I think it was enlightening in some aspects of it. So there is a lot of work in Israel bringing Palestinians and Jews together that you get no look at in this country. You know, that's not the dialogue we get at all. And these people have been working for 40 years in this. So striking point was integrating Palestinians with Jews in grade school, preschool, having Palestinian teachers teach in Jewish community schools, having Jewish teachers teach in Palestinian community schools. That part reminded me a lot of what we're going through in Easthampton, so I thought there was a correlation there. Almost, we don't really have an anti-Semitic problem that I know about in Easthampton. Somebody may enlighten me on that.
There have been anti-Semitic incidents.
Really? Yeah.
Absolutely. On
Yeah.
On the mountain.
the mountain.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the graffiti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there have been other graffiti.
Yeah, there's been multiple incidents
Oh.
of graffiti over the years.
Okay.
I
So.
mean, it stepped up after.
It's a problem
the last-
everywhere. It's one of the, right now it's at an all-time high.
Yeah, and it's growing.
Yep.
Which is, I just got saw a post from a friend of mine in New York City, and one subway station was just smattered with stuff this morning. That was.
So question,
Yeah.
you said it was very interesting what they were presenting with the work they've been doing,
Mhm. Yeah.
integrating teachers and
Yeah,
students
yeah.
and, okay. Is there more that, as a committee?
Well, I thought Officer Dennis was going to be here because he was there.
Oh,
And a big part of their initiative is dealing with a very over-aggressive militarized police force. And they talked a lot about that. If you want all the details, you can go to abrahaminitiative.com and see exactly what they're doing.
The discussion was really interesting because the point of it was to understand. They wanted to understand what do we, for example, do, or what do local communities do that they can incorporate into what they're doing, and vice versa. So the point is to exchange strategies for how you think about intergroup conflict and resolution.
Right.
So there were they have some interesting examples of, the buyback gun program and
Yeah.
Yonkers,
Yeah.
which was very interesting. So they were inspired by Yonkers, who has like a, buying back guns. So they started doing something similar there. So I found that interesting.
Yeah.
Education is very tied to the military, so there was some interesting, we thought. had some
Yeah,
reactions.
there was a comment from one of the members of one of the people who were there at the meeting, not part of the group, but someone just spoke up. Wanted to, had the feeling that if you have more equity in the military, allowing a more diversified group getting that kind of education that you get through the military, that would be something, because in Israel, the Palestinians are not allowed in the Israeli military. There was a time when they were, if I understand that correctly, but then they passed about in 1980, there was a very nationalized law passed, kind of excluding the Palestinians that were part of the police force and the military.
So they have very unequal access to
Yeah.
education.
And so you were at the presentation?
Yeah, Emily and Abby and I went. But my feeling is that, you know, the damage that's done by being in the military to a person's psyche, you know, and then all you have to do is look at all the PTSD problems we have and the VA and all that, sort of negates any kind of educational experience you might acquire. So I can't vouch, even though I am a veteran.
I think there's issues tying military to education.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah,
To
exactly.
get education, we should.
So I
Also,
wasn't-
it's a different structure as well, and people are expected, everybody's expected
Yeah.
to serve in the military.
Right.
It's an expectation.
Right.
That's not how it goes here.
Right. There was talk about the draft making things a little bit more equal as well, which that I can agree on. If, you know, if poor kids have to serve, so should rich kids. And then in the last part of there was there's a big push for the empowerment of women in their society, as you know, which really corresponds to what we're trying to do here as well. And I'm seeing it a lot happen. This last election was great. I think a lot of women got into good places. All right, so
Now we're at almost 6 minutes for this topic.
okay, I'm done. So the next new business, I don't have a copy of the agenda, I'm sorry.
Here it is.
Okay. So new business, quick summary, that we did that. Member feedback as to methods of outreach to facilitate our involvement. Any ideas if we're going to sponsor things or get into you know, discussions with people on the outside to bring them to this table, how do we do it?
I don't have an answer to that particular question. I was actually wanted to raise a different question that's, I think, a precursor to that,
Okay.
which is, you know, one of the things for me in terms of this group is that we have not really verbalized, discussed, written down things like our mission, our vision, our core values. And I think as a group, we need to formulate that instead of inviting people to join us. I don't think that we know who we are.
So I think C is scheduled to
Right.
work session.
Do a work session.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to address that is
That
essential.
Yes, so that was kind of my biggest agenda item for today, is that things are a little too wafty.
Yeah.
So having other people's input seems premature to me at this moment. Not that what we decide in terms of a vision or core values or anything isn't malleable and flexible and changeable. I hope that's the case. But I feel like that's our foundation that we don't have at this point.
No, we don't. And I will remind everyone in one of our work sessions where they told us when they were referring to the Cambridge committee, that took 2 years for them to figure out exactly what you're talking about. But in the meantime, and this is just my opinion, if we have people from the outside coming in, asking questions, or just stating something, that kind of helps us develop a course or a foundation, because then we'll have, all right, we have to do that. We might not know what we're doing, but we have to deal with that issue. And through having to deal with the issue, we may come up with some sort of plan that works for...
That's like the tail leading the dog. You know, I'm just saying,
We are, yeah.
if something happens, yes,
yeah.
but I don't think we're in any shape to deal with anything, particularly in the community, because we haven't formulated our own identity, from my perspective, in any case. So that we'll just be flopping around like everybody else with whatever difficulty there is. I mean, there's just...
I'm going to agree with you,
yeah.
but the fact that we were set up as having meetings sort of pushed us ahead of
where we are.
where we are. And we're forced to do this every month.
Right.
Not forced, but we've decided to do that. So, and here's where, let's go to C now.
Well, okay,
Oh,
What?
that's okay.
No. Anybody, all right, stay
I
on
was gonna
D.
say, I mean, I think along with having a mission is having goals. So
Yes.
once we figure out our missions, we could come up with 3 goals
Right.
for this year. What do we want to do?
This year's almost over.
I mean,
Yeah,
next year.
okay.
I meant
So
the
mission, vision, goals,
Yeah.
core value, just,
These are 3 groups of people we want to talk to. These are 3 issues in our community that we want to address. And then get more narrow from that.
but
But I hear you, I mean, we've been put in this position. It's not like we were told, you can have 3 months to come up
Right,
with your.
they knew we didn't know what we were doing.
Right.
So, so we had a meeting a couple months ago where we agreed on 3 things that we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I think that was a good place to start if we schedule a work session to start with those things.
Yeah.
and
Does
can you recall exactly what those
No.
I
things?
probably do, because I
but it
save
should
all
be
my
in the
notes. And I'm
minutes.
sure Rebecca has notes from pretty much all
I
of
think it
them.
was-
I probably have
outreach,
the
one
minutes
was-
from these.
Outreach to the school, we had ideas about some different intercultural, like, community events.
Yeah. We basically, everybody had a few things and then we basically said, you know, this sounds like 3 things that we want to focus on. I think maybe you did that.
I think.
I know I wasn't, because
I mean,
that
I
doesn't
think
ring
I
a bell.
was, but
Yes,
Right.
September, we discussed the evolution committee outreach, the potential to use city spirit survey as a study guide,
yes,
being a good neighbor,
That was it, yeah.
taking the lead with regard to the hosting of cultural events, welcoming events, assembling a resource list of city organizations and others who may assist us with such events. And then I have like a few questions. Helping other committees, city departments with regard to implicit bias, being available for questions in the community. Do we want to wear pins so that they can come and ask us questions? Supporting and/or launching good relations with our community of neighbors. That's what I've got on that from September. And
So, so this would all be great to do a work session about. And at a work session, we could not be so committed to timeframes and things like that. We could really start hashing things out. Any suggestions of when? Whose calendar is open?
do we want a work session with Brian? Do we want to work?
Well, that can be, once we decide when, I mean, I think we should,
I don't know if, I mean, I guess
maybe
if
we need
he,
one
if he,
just to our.
if he by
ourselves.
happenstance was available, but I wouldn't try and work around his calendar.
Brian was
Oh, Brian, okay, no.
the black fellow from
Brian,
Cambridge.
Yeah, I know, I didn't hear the name that you were
Yeah.
saying, so Brian. I don't know that we need a facilitator as much as we just need time
to
to talk
Yeah,
and,
Maybe
grow
that
each
would be the
other.
next step, to invite him once we have a facility.
once we have something, once we put together
Maybe
something,
early in the new
and
year.
then we just run it by someone who's,
It'd be interesting to see how they set up their mission, how
Yeah.
how they decide on.
I'm
their
sure we
core
would have
values and-
questions
Yeah.
like that once, but I agree, let's have our own,
I don't know if anybody
Session.
else finds the format for me, I mean, I haven't been here sometimes, but the format for me of having a month or months in between and there being very little continuity and very little thread to hang on to. I mean, we're all busy, I get it, but it just seems we're in outer space, that's all. I feel like I'm in outer space. And it doesn't feel particularly productive or anything. It feels like kind of goofy, you know?
Well, it's new
yeah.
and
And I
doesn't
think
have its
also
legs yet.
part of the problem is we can't communicate by email.
Right, right,
So
because,
that
we're-
it becomes, then we have to try to figure out a time where everybody can meet, so
Right,
for the whole
exactly.
transparency thing, and, you know, that
right.
is another barrier.
Some of the rules of the meeting law seem to be self-defeating.
And how many meetings have we actually had?
Only
Five?
5.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we're still
So are we,
new.
so when do people want to try and see?
Yeah,
Or should
Do we have a meeting the 10th of December?
Here are some details.
Are we
Sorry.
supposed to?
Yeah, if
My
we
phone is
just
listening.
use that next
Can we-
meeting for a work meeting.
Yes.
Can we skip?
we can decide on that,
I think
yes.
we should
So
do
we
that.
cannot
Let's do
have a public meeting?
I think that's.
Right,
So
well,
we have a work
sounds good to me,
session.
because that way we're
Because I'm away
all,
for the
Should
next
we
3
set
weeks.
aside 2
Yeah,
hours?
it's gonna be.
I mean, do you want to, because meeting from 6
I have the night free whenever we do this, so.
Yeah, it's not gonna be 1 hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It can't be 1 hour.
No, we have to,
We're not gonna
because,
get much
yeah,
done in an hour.
yeah, because there's gonna be a lot to get
So
through.
this would be like a dinner meeting. We'd bring,
Yeah,
we'd bring
I'll
something
bring,
to eat.
yeah, we'll bring some stuff.
Bring some stuff. So, okay, so that would be a time that most people would know about, and if they could attend, they would attend.
Now, who said that they weren't gonna make the next 2 meetings?
Emily,
But that was last one and this one, isn't it?
No.
No, she was here last time.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this one, the next one.
so I'm
That's too bad.
gonna
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is, but
go.
as I was told when I couldn't make a work event, well, we can't schedule everybody at the same time. Can't get everybody
So
on
I'm
the
gonna
same
put
page.
in work session. And I will, oops,
Did you want to start at 6:15?
yeah, we'll do the 6:15 and leave it open.
Okay.
But set aside 2 hours. if
Set
it's
aside
over
2 hours, and if everybody's willing to, if we're on hot topics, if we,
I'll need to check. I might need to leave early. But I should be able to stay for at least.
but that way, yeah, but see, that way if someone leaves and we lose a quorum, we can still keep talking, because it's a work session.
Right, right.
Last time, we had to stop, because we ended up with 5 people, so. All right, so that's great, so work session scheduled.
Great.
I'm sorry, I was looking all this stuff up. What day did you say?
The
Get
10th,
the 10th.
our next meeting.
And I suppose instead of just filing an agenda, I can just write to,
Yeah, I would make sure they.
I really think it would be helpful if people wrote that they weren't going to attend.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
for me, like, I had an issue come up today where I didn't know if I was going to be able to come.
okay,
But I came because I was like, well, I don't know if other people can't come, so I don't want you to not be able to.
right,
And I don't love being, like, I would
So-
like prefer, because I've been at every meeting, so like, I don't want
Right.
to feel like, it would just be helpful to know.
So,
right. So do you think it's appropriate for me to put an email
I would
out
really like people to just respond if they're not going
to
to.
say, yeah, say,
to
we're
respond
gonna
to
have a
all,
work,
because I've never
Yeah.
Oh, just respond to Jane, I think.
That's
Yeah.
fine, but
Yeah,
then maybe
yeah.
you could just send out an email, say, we have 7 people who said they're coming. And
yes, I'll send the email out to everyone stating the work session, and I'll inform the clerk, and I'll ask for individuals to just email me back to say if you're coming, and then.
Well, and that's
we'll
something we can also, reiterate at the work session, like, guys, you gotta, obviously.
I mean, there's some people who maybe been here once, and
I
I
know.
just think
Well, we should also,
it's hard again.
I
with
asked that
formulating
question
everything.
last time too, or maybe to someone in between meetings. Maybe we should evaluate, like, the people that haven't been, that have only been here once, and see if they really want to be part of it.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure
'Cause-
most of us in our jobs, like, if somebody doesn't
Yeah.
show up, you're just like, are you a part of this or no?
Yeah.
If you're not,
Exactly.
Get out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
one of my issues has been that the board meeting every other month.
but you're committed to the other ones, so you've been here.
Right.
But you've
Right.
also said, you've been
You've been
clear
very
about
clear
whether
about
you've been
that.
here or
Yeah.
not.
That's, I don't
Right.
at all consider that.
Okay.
It's
Sometimes people
different.
just aren't here.
Yeah.
They don't send.
They don't send, we don't know why they're not.
We knew you
here.
weren't gonna be.
Right.
We knew Emily wasn't going to be here.
She's been very clear.
Right.
Yeah.
Jan has not been here for as far as I know. Well, not last time.
And that's it.
I missed the one before that.
He was here in September.
He was here September. Okay.
He didn't communicate with you? He didn't communicate with you?
No. no.
And maybe that in the email that you send out, maybe if you specifically say.
Yeah. Yeah, also, when I put out the agenda, and I try to do it like the week before, when you guys see it on the website and you want to change anything, all you have to do is write to me to say it, and I can submit that, and the clerk will change it for us. If you say, no, I want to have this on the new business, we can put it on. There's no restrictions on that. You can come up with ideas.
We have
I
2
usually-
minutes until we have to move on to new business.
Okay.
To continuing business?
Or yes, our continuing business.
Yeah,
So we scheduled a next
Yeah.
work session.
yeah, schedule it for December 10th.
Okay, great.
I wonder between now and then if we could get in touch with Cambridge and find out what their kind of what their mission is, what they came up with.
Did we not have that from him?
Do we?
That's
Yeah,
why I'm looking.
I don't have it with me
I
here
have- well, I have
tonight,
what
but I
we
have
might
all the
have.
papers that
Yes.
he gave
Let's
us.
see, yeah.
And we can bring that to the work session
Yes.
next month
I have
and
it
review
written,
some of
yes.
that.
That already exists. Not that their agenda in Cambridge is the same as ours, but
I know.
yeah, if somebody has a
Oh,
nicely
okay,
worded written thing, then how?
Wait, was it the Citizen Committee on Civic Unity? Is that what their group is called?
I don't know, let's see, Brian, all this stuff. I just came across.
I mean, I
this
wasn't at the
Yeah,
initial
yeah.
thing, but there
I
is
still
a
have
mission statement here.
Yeah,
And additional goals, proposed strategies, I'm assuming this is all his stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
Is that this?
Yeah.
yes.
Our work over that's the Cambridge,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do have it, we don't need to ask them for it
oh,
now.
great,
It
okay.
is in this material.
okay, I'm gonna stop us
So,
right here on that, and we're gonna save all this for
I
the
know, but
work session.
maybe what you could say in the email is to ask people to review this before they come.
so this is our work of the past year regarding mission and goals.
Yes.
Sorry,
Yeah.
can we have one more minute for this?
Yes, absolutely.
Has anybody done mission and vision strategizing? You have, I have.
I have some.
You have done some? Okay. There's definitely some, like, resources that we could probably, it's, to make it, to have a little structure to our conversation.
Mission and what strategizing?
Vision
And
strategizing.
vision.
So,
There's actually, like, there are, like, there's practices, there's best practices in building your mission and vision.
so is that something that you could like send a link to for us or print out or something like
There
that?
might even be a video.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like a
You can
YouTube
just-
video on
Yeah,
it.
anything you send to
Yeah.
me, I will send out to everyone.
Okay, I will
So-
take that on, I will.
I bet you there's a YouTube video.
Yeah. This is how you do it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, good. We're moving on. Continuing business. Now, here's a big one. Our ongoing discussion of implicit bias.
Oh, boy.
I think we should table that until Emily is back with us, because she seems to be the one who's really taking this on and really running with it. So.
And I'll just put out that I've started doing some of those
Me
tests,
too, yeah,
which has been quite
yeah. And then,
interesting.
and her last general email had a list of a few books
Yes,
that
yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't gotten to yet, but I will.
Yeah.
One of them seemed to be very popular, even for people outside this committee and stuff, the,
White fragility.
yes, yeah,
I'm reading that now.
yeah.
Yeah, but it has been interesting. I think we could still keep moving on
Yeah.
that piece of it, even if we're not going to have
Sure,
a conversation, because I think the more tests we
right.
do, the
Has
more-
anyone had any of the tests that surprised them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
Yes, I've only done two.
Okay.
One I expected, the other one I was upset by the answer,
Oh.
I'll say,
it's also
because of the result.
Can we talk about that, or is that something you wanted? Is that,
I think there's two thing, you weren't at the September meeting, I don't think.
No, I was not.
No, because I remember talking about having taken the test on race bias, I think it was, shortly before, and realizing that I didn't really understand the instructions in terms of they had a little bit different word and language that did not make sense to me as to what it was I was supposed to be doing. So as I was doing it, I was kind of, do I have this right? Do I have this right? It was, I mean, I was really questioning myself the whole time. And then after I realized what the story was, how this test tests you, it's a time test.
It is.
So if you delay, it means
For any reason.
for any reason. So
And that's what I was hoping.
Problem. That was well, it's not the
Yeah.
only problem. I mean, I think we are problems, but
You're right,
I
right.
think we have problems, but you know, tests are tests, and you know, as a psychologist, just because it's a test doesn't mean anything to me. If it's going to be testing something that it's not meant to test, like I don't understand the instructions for starters, you know, so then I'm going to take 15 minutes on a question, and I'm off the chart. So
does it take away from the test if you do it again?
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, I was curious as to
I didn't see
why.
any instructions on that
No.
that you couldn't take it twice.
Well, I think the issue is that between the test, the issue of implicit bias, explicit bias, reading the books that are suggested, Between the World and Me by Coates, and then White Fragility and whatever other, it just raises issues for us, and I think that's an issue that we have on this committee, in that we have one African American person, and we have no people who, I mean, you're one of the younger people, but I have some stuff here about how many people are in Northampton that are under 30. Well,
You mean
who are
Easthampton?
Easthampton, yes, sorry. You know, so who are the stakeholders here? We don't even really have a fair representation of 10% of the population are people of color. Well, I don't know, I guess maybe 10% is on the committee, but it's, you know, it's an issue.
Yeah, we're heavily loaded with
White, middle-aged,
old white women.
Old white women,
you know, and some middle-agers.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is what it is, but I don't think that we should pretend it's not a problem.
Well, I mean, too, I think going back, that could be something we try to address, A, in our work session, but also B, we have at least one more spot open.
Yes.
At least one.
In September, there was a woman who came whose name escapes me.
Deb.
Is that the woman?
Yes, Deb
And she-
Luznia, and she is now part of the group.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And she had a lot of more town committee
Yeah,
experience.
and she
that
seemed
was
to be,
helpful.
yeah, she was definitely, I caught from her being a little bit more conservative than, I'm probably the most left of anyone. I don't know that, but I'm just assuming.
Well, it's not left or right. She
Yeah.
just knows. She knows about.
Yes, she set us straight on a couple of meeting
Exactly,
issues. Yeah.
exactly. And I'm totally inexperienced, so anybody who can guide me is fabulous, you know, in that regard. But,
Anybody else?
so we do have an opening, so we may want to really work on getting somebody who is
Yes.
not representative of white.
Yeah, the mayor had a suggestion, and it was another female. No idea who that was, whether ethnicity is or.
But are you saying, I'm not sure of the demographics, I'm going to admit, so do we have more young people so that younger people are not fairly represented?
Well, I think this was some of my prep for meeting with the mayor when I wanted to be on the committee. So,
Great.
So 30% of Easthampton is 55 and over, 45% is 25 to 55. So 40-ish% of our group here is not between 25 and 55.
I'm 56. Let's take a year.
You know, and people of color in Easthampton are 10%, so if
Well,
we're
I think you raise a bigger issue, because if you look at most of our committees, if you look at our city council,
right.
Yep.
And given that
everyone. So, I think that, I do think we want to be careful not to specifically, like, turn somebody away. I think we'd want to be careful about, taking somebody just because.
Yes, we don't want to do any kind of tokenism.
Yes.
Right.
But I think you have a good point, because I think it's a bigger issue around our whole town.
Yes,
The
it's a town,
community
yeah,
as-
it's a town issue.
Yeah, it is.
And that could be something that we would want to really address in our work
Right,
session.
is how do we engage those who are not,
Yeah, how do we? I mean, that could be a major issue
yeah,
that we work on.
Right.
That's a big thing too.
it is a good thing.
There's a lot of ways you can go do that wrong. So again, best practices.
Yeah, yeah.
You are suffering with your cold.
What?
I can see you're suffering with your.
I'm actually feeling much better. It's just my voice. I was going to say that it's really, since it's a mayoral appointed position, that's something, I mean, she would be the person who would presumably need to approve them.
Right.
So I mean, she might have ideas.
Mhm.
It makes more sense for her to do the outreach than for us.
Right, well, that's what I thought. That's-
And it would be less uncomfortable.
Yes, well, that's why when she put out a suggestion of a person, I didn't do anything about it, or,
Right.
because it's not my place. I
Right.
mean, we're just here at.
But we could point out to her that we,
Yeah.
we're really striving
Yeah.
for diversity and, if she has ideas.
All right. Give the mayor a good talking to. Okay. And then the continuing discussion on evolution of the committee. That seems to fall under the work session. Anything else that anyone thinks should be brought up right now? Something to prepare us for the work session, or, because that's all the business we have there, and I think the more we talk about it, the better.
Do people have time? I mean, I am as guilty of this. I don't know if anybody else. I'm guilty of this. Going through these materials, I have not really done that. I've done it maybe, I don't know, in January or February, and looked at them, and I said, oh yeah, I vaguely remember that. But to really go through these materials so that we are like prepared for our work session, is that?
Well, that was my suggestion, was to look through
Yes.
the stuff from Cambridge.
Sure, yeah, I think it's a good idea. I'm sure we can all find a little time to
Yes,
review all that.
yes, but here it is. It's the,
I'm not
city spirit.
right, but I'm not sure like the open meeting law stuff we need to
No.
go through again.
No, so this,
The spirit stuff and the stuff from Cambridge, I think, if we can peruse that.
yes.
Yeah, no.
And,
No, the only ones I go through, I'm always going back to the open meeting law booklet, because I just don't want to make any more mistakes, but, because there were, sometimes I feel like I should put out a bulletin, but then it gets a little tricky, whether I'm just providing information or I'm asking questions. So, because don't think I haven't. Yeah, well, I'm supposed to be. Have you watched CNN or just? I wish they would. I hope they televise those impeachment
That's
proceedings.
tomorrow morning.
Is it? Is it going to be televised or
Yeah,
just
I think
on the
so.
radio?
It's televised.
That'd be great.
so,
Anyways, we can't
just as an aside, in the beginning, I just found here the Division 11, which I guess is the, whatever part of the, I don't know,
I don't know what that is.
I don't know, but it talks about the established appointment terms, duties and responsibilities for the committee.
Okay.
Here, there's actually 2 sheets in here. And I think this is the one that, wherever it comes under the charter, I guess? Is
Yes.
that it? I don't know. Division 11 added by the City Council on July 11.
So that's what
2018.
they came up with?
Right.
Yeah, so that's like what's on the books is,
Okay, right, to establish. Well, I think we can just do
yeah,
a
there's
little
actually.
studying.
Yeah,
Yeah, but,
I am not that,
yeah,
I can do it when I set my mind to it.
I'm quite unsure of our relationship with the town council, the mayor, what we're supposed to bring up or what we're expected to bring up. So,
yeah.
Okay, so that's our work session.
that's gonna be all in our work session,
Yep.
which will have tons of ideas and,
Food.
does anyone not drink coffee in the evening?
I don't.
I would never drink coffee in the morning. I'd be up all
I would
night.
never-
Yeah, me too.
So I should bring wine?
Be better for that, actually.
Do you think we'll get anything done?
Well, what happened, wine could only be at the halfway.
It might though, maybe we could read something very basic in advance about,
Yes.
you know, vision.
Right. So if anybody comes up with an idea between now and next month, please send it to me so I can send it to everyone.
So is that how it goes, that everything has to go
Yes.
through you to
Yeah,
get sent
yes.
to everyone?
Yes, that's how,
So-
that's how I understand
Then we
it.
don't accidentally end up having a conversation
Right.
with too many
Right.
people.
Okay, right.
Yes.
I know, like when Emily sent something in October, I guess it was, all I wrote back to her, I didn't send it to everyone, was thank you so much for all the work you've done.
Mhm.
Boom, end of story.
Yeah,
But, okay,
yeah, she sent that to me first.
okay.
And I,
then you
and I
forwarded it.
I edited it so that her email to me wasn't in there.
Mhm.
And she had the whole body of her essay,
Okay,
and that was allowable. So yeah, I will check with people to make sure we can do it. So
okay.
that's my job. Anything else?
Some pretty big duties and responsibilities here, guys.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, well.
I think we'll need to narrow down our actual mission statement.
We'd have to even have information on these things. This is it. Yours looks a little different, but this is duties and responsibilities. It's on later.
It might also help to see some templates of other similar organizations.
Well, that's why we're gonna look at the
Yeah.
Cambridge ones.
mhm.
I'm just thinking even beyond that, something very simple.
Almost.
Yes. I will contact the mayor's office and I will ask for more resources of that nature and see what they can provide for us.
Well, and it might not be bad. I feel like, wasn't there was another city
Worcester,
that, was it,
Cambridge and Worcester are the only two others that
maybe,
have.
I think it was maybe not a Massachusetts city
Oh, okay, then I don't know.
that Nicole talked about.
Was it Miami?
But I thought, but I could be making that up.
I don't know.
Maybe those DOJ people mentioned it.
We did have the woman from Miami who came up. She was the civic leader down
Mildred
there.
Dupre,
Yes,
the Robles.
yes.
Right there, you just have to look down.
All right, so
Alrighty.
there is no other business. Our next meeting is not a meeting, it's a work session. We agreed with that. I motion to adjourn. Anyone second it? All in favor? Meeting adjourned.